Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters. Welcome back to this channel where we uncover together the forgotten gems of our glorious Islamic heritage. I am absolutely thrilled to see you again today as we embark on one of the most incredible journeys ever documented in human history. You know, there are adventures that completely transform our understanding of what it means to be human. Stories that show us that the world is far more vast and beautiful than we ever imagined. Subscribe to our channel and let this brilliant example inspire you to face your own daily challenges with the same unwavering faith and incredible strength. Today, I'm going to tell you about a man who traveled more than 75,000 miles across the known world, a distance that would circle the earth 3 times, armed with nothing but an unshakable faith in Allah and an insatiable curiosity about his creation. This man is Ibn Battuta, and his extraordinary story will inspire you, amaze you, and remind you that the spirit of adventure and discovery runs deep in the veins of Islamic civilization. So let me ask you this: what would drive a young man to leave everything familiar behind and venture into the complete unknown? What kind of burning desire for knowledge could push someone to risk everything, again and again? Crossing deserts that could swallow armies, sailing seas that had claimed countless ships, walking through territories where a single wrong step could mean death? What vision of the world could be so compelling that it transforms a simple pilgrimage into a 30-year odyssey that would redefine the very concept of travel? This is exactly what happened in the year 1325, in the bustling city of Tangier, Morocco. A 21-year-old Islamic scholar had just made a decision that would change his life forever and give humanity one of its greatest treasures of exploration and cultural documentation. The Mediterranean breeze carried the scent of adventure as he contemplated the vast world that stretched beyond his familiar horizons, knowing that ahead lay territories he had only heard about in the stories of merchants and pilgrims. He looked at his few possessions, simple belongings that represented everything he owned in this world. Then, at the road that led eastward toward Mecca, a path that millions had taken before him, but none quite like he was about to. And at this pivotal moment, he made a choice that would echo through the corridors of history. He would not simply perform the Hajj and return home like any ordinary pilgrim, but would use this sacred journey as the beginning of an exploration that would take him to every corner of the Islamic world and beyond. His family watched with a mixture of pride and concern, understanding that their beloved son was embarking on something extraordinary, something that might keep him away for years, perhaps forever. Some may have wondered if this intense thirst for knowledge and adventure was wise, if a comfortable life as a respected scholar in Tangier wouldn't be preferable to the dangers and uncertainties of constant travel. But Ibn Battuta knew exactly what was calling him. He understood that Allah had placed this burning curiosity in his heart for a reason, that the world was a vast book waiting to be read, and that true knowledge could only be gained through direct experience and fearless exploration. He transformed what began as a religious obligation into a divine mission of discovery, a journey that would become the greatest adventure in the history of travel. In this moment of apparent recklessness lay the seeds of genius, a spiritual and intellectual hunger that would produce one of the most valuable documents of medieval civilization. But who was this remarkable man who would become history's greatest traveler? Ibn Battuta was born in 1304 in Tangier, Morocco, into a family of Islamic legal scholars and judges. The city of his birth was a crossroads of cultures, where caravans from the Sahara met ships from across the Mediterranean, where stories of distant lands were as common as the call to prayer. From his earliest years, he was surrounded by tales of adventure and learning, of distant cities with names that sounded like music, of scholars and saints who had achieved greatness in far-off places. His family belonged to the Berber tribe of Lawata, and their home was filled with the rich traditions of Islamic jurisprudence and scholarship. But young Ibn Battuta was different from his scholarly relatives. While they found contentment in their books and their local reputation, he felt an irresistible pull toward the vast world beyond Morocco's borders. He was not satisfied with second-hand knowledge or academic theories. He wanted to see everything with his own eyes, to meet the scholars he had read about, to witness the wonders that existed beyond the horizon. His true genius lay not just in his courage, though he possessed bravery in abundance, but in his ability to connect with people from every culture and background, to learn from every experience, and to see the hand of Allah in every corner of creation. Where others saw foreign customs as strange or threatening, he saw fascinating expressions of human diversity. Where others saw dangerous journeys as obstacles to avoid, he saw opportunities for growth and discovery. When the call to perform the Hajj stirred in his heart, when the obligation to visit the holy cities of Mecca and Medina became impossible to ignore, Ibn Battuta realized that this was his moment, his chance to begin the great adventure that his soul had been preparing for all his life. Not because he was wealthy or had powerful connections, not because he possessed special equipment or royal sponsorship, but because he had something far more valuable: an unquenchable thirst for knowledge and an absolute trust in Allah's protection. The world in 1325 was a place of incredible diversity and constant change. The great Mongol Empire was fragmenting into smaller kingdoms. Islamic civilization was flourishing from Spain to India, and the trade routes that connected east and west were buzzing with activity. But this was also a world of immense dangers, where bandits roamed the highways, where diseases could wipe out entire cities, where political upheavals could trap travelers in foreign lands for years. The technology of travel was primitive and unreliable, where every journey beyond familiar territory was essentially a gamble with death. But these dangers, though real and constant, were secondary to the spiritual and intellectual dimensions of the journey. This was not simply tourism or adventure for its own sake. It was a divine calling, an opportunity to witness the magnificent diversity of Allah's creation, and to learn from the wisdom of scholars and saints across the Islamic world. Imagine Ibn Battuta's situation for a moment, and try to understand the magnitude of what he was attempting. We are in the 14th century, a time when a journey from Morocco to Mecca was considered an extraordinary undertaking that many people never survived. The routes are dangerous and unpredictable, passing through territories controlled by various rulers who might be hostile to travelers, across deserts where water is more precious than gold, through regions where plague and other diseases could kill in a matter of days. The mathematical reality is staggering. The distance from Tangier to Mecca is over 3,000 miles of some of the most challenging terrain on Earth. And Ibn Battuta was traveling essentially alone, with no GPS, no modern medicine, no reliable maps, no way to communicate with home, and no guarantee that he would ever see Morocco again. Any rational person would have planned carefully, saved money for years, organized a large caravan for protection, and prepared for every possible contingency. But not Ibn Battuta. He set out with extraordinary faith, carrying little more than his knowledge of Islamic law, his skill in Arabic, and his complete trust in Allah's protection. This faith, this willingness to abandon himself entirely to divine providence, transformed what should have been an impossible journey into the greatest adventure in human history. June 1325. The date when the greatest journey in history began. Ibn Battuta joins a caravan leaving Tangier for the east, his heart pounding with excitement and his mind racing with possibilities. The caravan is a microcosm of the medieval world. Merchants from different countries, pilgrims from various backgrounds, scholars and adventurers, all united by the common goal of reaching the holy cities. The journey across North Africa is brutal but beautiful. Endless stretches of desert where the sun beats down mercilessly during the day, and the cold penetrates to the bone at night. Oases that appear like miracles in the wasteland. Ancient cities that have stood for centuries as testimony to human resilience and faith. There are moments of incredible beauty when the desert reveals its hidden splendor, and moments of terror when sandstorms threaten to bury the entire caravan. But through it all, Ibn Battuta's curiosity proves insatiable, his ability to find wonder in every experience remarkable, his faith in Allah's protection unwavering even when the situation seems hopeless. He documents everything he sees, everyone he meets, every lesson he learns, creating a treasure trove of information about the medieval world that would prove invaluable to future generations. After months of travel, he finally reaches Alexandria, the legendary city of learning and culture. Here, for the first time, he encounters the broader Islamic world in all its complexity and magnificence. The city is a revelation. Massive libraries filled with works in dozens of languages. Scholars from every corner of the known world engaged in passionate debates. Magnificent architecture that speaks of centuries of Islamic achievement. And a cosmopolitan atmosphere that proves Islam's ability to unite people from vastly different backgrounds. But Alexandria is just the beginning. From there, he travels to Cairo, the greatest city in the Islamic world, where the Sultan's court displays a level of sophistication and luxury that amazes even this well-educated Moroccan. The city is a living testament to Islamic civilization at its peak. Magnificent mosques that seem to reach toward heaven, bustling markets where goods from Africa, Asia, and Europe change hands, and institutions of learning that attract students from across the known world. From Cairo, he continues to Damascus, the ancient capital of the Umayyad Caliphate, where he studies with some of the greatest scholars of his time and experiences the profound spirituality of a city that has been holy to Muslims for centuries. The Great Mosque of Damascus, with its soaring minarets and intricate decorations, fills him with awe and reminds him of the artistic achievements of Islamic civilization. Finally, after nearly a year of travel, he reaches Mecca and performs the Hajj, the culmination of every Muslim's spiritual journey. Standing in the Grand Mosque, surrounded by hundreds of thousands of pilgrims from every corner of the earth, he experiences a profound sense of the unity of the Islamic Ummah and the universal nature of the faith. But what happens next is what truly sets Ibn Battuta apart from ordinary pilgrims. Instead of returning home satisfied with having completed his religious obligation, he decides to continue his journey, to explore more of the Islamic world, and to learn from the wisdom of scholars and saints in distant lands. This decision transforms him from a simple pilgrim into history's greatest traveler, embarking on a journey that would take him to India, China, the Maldives, and back to Morocco, covering more territory than any person had ever traveled before. What made Ibn Battuta extraordinary was not just his physical courage or his ability to endure hardship, but his intellectual curiosity and his capacity to learn from every experience. He was a master of languages, speaking Arabic, Persian, Turkish, and several other languages fluently, which allowed him to communicate with people from vastly different cultures. He was also a skilled observer, documenting everything from political systems to social customs, from architectural styles to economic practices, creating a comprehensive picture of the 14th century world that no other source provides. His approach was always respectful and humble, understanding that every culture had something valuable to teach, that every person he met had wisdom to share. He served as a judge in Delhi, married into local families in the Maldives, advised rulers in various kingdoms, and always maintained his identity as a Muslim scholar while adapting to local customs and practices. For nearly 30 years, Ibn Battuta traveled continuously, covering an estimated 75,000 miles and visiting virtually every important city in the Islamic world. His journeys took him through Central Asia, where he witnessed the remnants of the Mongol Empire, to India, where he served in the court of the Sultan of Delhi, to the Maldives, where he worked as a judge and married into the local nobility, to China, where he observed a civilization completely different from anything he had known, and finally back to Morocco, where he would spend his final years writing the account of his travels that would ensure his immortality. The book he produced, known as the Rihla, is far more than a simple travelogue. It is a masterpiece of medieval literature, a comprehensive guide to 14th century Islamic civilization, and a testament to the power of human curiosity and faith. Through his eyes, we see the Islamic world at its peak, a civilization that stretched from Spain to China, united by faith but diverse in culture, prosperous and sophisticated, tolerant and cosmopolitan. His descriptions of cities like Baghdad, Istanbul, Delhi, and Granada provide invaluable insights into medieval urban life, while his accounts of rural areas, nomadic peoples, and frontier regions offer a complete picture of the Islamic world's diversity. But perhaps most importantly, his story demonstrates that the pursuit of knowledge and the spirit of adventure are fundamental aspects of Islamic civilization, that the same faith that calls Muslims to pray 5 times a day also calls them to explore Allah's creation and to learn from the wisdom of all peoples. Beloved brothers and sisters, the story of Ibn Battuta speaks directly to us today, across the 7 centuries that separate us from his time. In our modern world, where technology has made travel easier but somehow less meaningful, where we can see images of any place on earth but rarely take the time to truly understand different cultures, He reminds us that real knowledge comes only through direct experience and genuine human connection. How often do we limit ourselves to our comfort zones, satisfied with second-hand information and virtual experiences? How often do we let fear of the unknown prevent us from discovering the incredible diversity and beauty of Allah's creation? Ibn Battuta teaches us that the world is far more interesting and wonderful than we can imagine from our limited perspectives, that every culture has wisdom to offer, and that the journey of discovery is itself a form of worship. What moves me most deeply about this incredible story is how Allah, the all-knowing, the all-wise, used one man's curiosity and courage to create a document that would educate and inspire countless generations. Ibn Battuta was not a prince or a wealthy merchant, was not equipped with modern technology or backed by powerful institutions, was not trained as a professional explorer or geographer. He was a simple scholar with an extraordinary thirst for knowledge, unwavering faith in Allah's protection, and the courage to follow his dreams no matter where they led. That was all it took to produce one of the most valuable documents in human history, to show the world the magnificent diversity of Islamic civilization, and to prove that the spirit of adventure and discovery runs deep in the Islamic tradition. So, dear brothers and sisters, the next time you feel limited by your circumstances, too ordinary to achieve something extraordinary, remember this remarkable man who, with nothing but his faith and his curiosity, traveled farther than any human being had ever traveled before, and left us a treasure that continues to inspire and educate people around the world. True greatness, lasting impact, does not come from wealth or status, from technology or institutional support, but from genuine curiosity, sincere faith, and the courage to pursue knowledge wherever it may lead. Thank you from the depths of my heart for joining me on this incredible journey today. The legacy of Ibn Battuta reminds us that the world is a vast book waiting to be read, that every culture has wisdom to offer, and that the pursuit of knowledge is one of the highest forms of worship. If this story has inspired you, if it has awakened something in your heart, please share it with others who need to hear it. Subscribe to our channel and let this brilliant example motivate you to approach your own life with the same curiosity, courage, and faith that made Ibn Battuta the greatest traveler in history. May Allah grant us all the adventurous spirit of Ibn Battuta, his insatiable thirst for knowledge, his respect for all peoples, and his unwavering trust in divine protection. Barakallahu fikum, and see you soon inshallah, for more treasures from our magnificent Islamic heritage.